We're back and we're picking up where we left off. The last step that we did was putting the upper A-frames on. Today we have a lot more blocking to cut for the very top of the A-frames. So we're going to get all of that cut and installed. Then we're going to move on to the first step of installing our cold roof. Okay. Well, I guess you probably... almost too short. Chris went through and did some planing on the structure. There were some spots where the mending plates and the blocking, some of it was just a little bit wider than others. I guess some of the 2x10s on one pallet were a lot drier than other 2x10s, and luckily we noticed it pretty early on, so there was only a couple of spots that needed planed. Now we're going to do the first step in our cold roof, and that's installing a Tyvek wrap on the roof, and that will help shed some water while we're working on building the end walls and the gable end overhangs. Now that our Tyvek house wrap is on, we're shedding about 95% of the water so we can work in here when it's raining. The next step that we're doing is building our end walls, and we're constructing them out of 2x6s, and we're also going to build them in place because I think it would be a little difficult to lift them up in this awkward space. They're not load-bearing walls, so we're actually going to construct them similar to an interior wall.
What the heck? It looks like it's not going to fit, and then when you slide it in, it's perfect. We just put this rigid foam insulation inside of the A-frames on this end wall. The reason why we had it doubled up like this, my thinking is that when we put the 2x6 wall on here, it'll actually stiffen the wall quite a bit, having two A-frames to nail it to. I probably should have done the same on the backside. Most A-frames that I've seen built, they don't have this, but since this is our front entryway, we're gonna be using this front door all the time, and constant in and out of the door and closing it, I don't wanna have a wall that rattles. And the thing is, with only having that wall connected to one of these A-frames, I have a feeling it might feel kind of loose. And with having doubled up A-frames like this, it's gonna make it really solid when you're opening your windows or opening and closing a door. And when we're in and out of here all the time, it's gonna feel really solid and nice. So we put the rigid foam in there because once we start building this wall, we're not gonna be able to access this cavity anymore. So now that we put this in here, that gives this area right here about a R10 insulation value if you include the insulation value of the two pieces of wood, because an inch of wood is only about an R1. So we have about 3 inches of wood here and 1.5 inches of rigid foam, which is close to R10. And we won't be able to go back and do this later, so that's why we had to do that now before we start putting in the wall. Since these are non-load bearing walls, we're able to get away without doing a jack stud on the outside or on the inside here. We're just doing a single king stud up and down for the doorway. And we are going to have one cripple here in the middle just for nailing our plywood and to strengthen it up a little bit. But we're using the minimal amount of wood possible on this wall to really save for energy efficiency. And since it is 2x6s, we're able to spread it out to 24-inch on center instead of 16-inch on center. So overall on this wall, with using that lesser amount of wood, we're probably going to have around a 15% savings in heat loss through the studs transferring the heat or transferring the cold in. We're also not doing a header board here, and that's also to save on energy. There's really no need for a header board. Again, this isn't a load bearing wall, so there's not going to be any sag here trying to push down on the door or the windows. So we're going to pass that on the windows as well. We're just going to do cripple studs for the plywood, and that's it.
Square at the bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah, smaller, just framing the wall makes. Grainy. Would you bring that up here? Look at this mess you made.
Nelly, what did you do? We are taking a break from our end walls and we're going to build a set of stairs to get up to the loft. The reason is it's kind of hard to go up and down the ladder constantly, and to get all that material up there, it'll be a lot more convenient just to walk it up and down the stairs, especially since we can come down here and cut all of our pieces and then walk them up instead of having to haul the nice saw up there. That would just be ridiculous. What I'm doing here is I'm marking out our stair stringers. I'm just using a regular framing square with stair gauges. So it's making it pretty quick. I use a stair calculator to figure out my rise and run on these treads. And what we're doing is we're making it take up the least amount of area that we can while still having head clearance for me to walk up without hitting my head on the wall on this side or that side. But at the same time, we're trying to make it the least amount of slope. We don't want to have to feel like we're going up and down a ladder to get up there. We want a regular staircase in case we have children one day, they'll have a safer staircase to go up and down.
you think?
Getting there. Almost ready to bring supplies up here and do the end walls. We're using this adjustable joist hanger for the middle stringer of the stairs. It can be rotated to any angle. We didn't have any local stair stringer hangers, but I feel like this is a sufficient replacement. It's going to be plenty strong enough for that stringer since we can't attach it directly to a joist.
That was a lot better than having to bring it with that
With a rope?
rope line, wasn't it?
Yeah. We party long time.
I missed you so much. You were upstairs for 5 minutes. Put in the ones from the box. When you're up on that ladder, he like stops chewing his stick just a little. Look, I'm looking out the window at Nellie. Just like to ask you if you heard it that time. like from something?
No.
We finished our end walls, and another small project that we wanted to work on is getting some safety rails and a handrail on the stairwell. And we want to add some temporary safety rails so that way nobody falls down in the hole. And these will just be temporary. We are going to have walls on either side of this, so it'll just be something for construction. And then we also want to add a handrail going down as well.
Keep in mind it doesn't go to the wall on purpose, so I can insulate, because I have to run that sheathing along there. Alright, 2 screws is all I need, right?
Oh yeah. Our safety rails and handrail are installed, and those are just temporary along with the stair treads. We did use 2x10s for the stair treads, and we didn't want to install permanent ones yet because we are still working on construction and we didn't want them to get damaged hauling materials up and down the stairs. So that's something that'll be for once the cabin is more enclosed and maybe a winter project, that we can come back and install nicer permanent stair treads as well as a nicer and permanent handrail. You may have noticed while we were upstairs that the last layer of Tyvek was on the roof, and we will get more detailed about how we're building our cold roof in that video. For now, thank you for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.